Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us this week on Magnet Marketers. I'm Jessica Phillips, President of Now Marketing Group and Relationship Marketing System. And as always, I'm excited to have with me Mike Gingrich. He is President of Digital Hill, co-founder of the popular social media app Tabsite, and also the podcaster extraordinaire with the Halftime Mike podcast. So this week, we're excited to dive into the topic of lead captures. We've kind of been building up from this if you've been following along with some of the things that we've been talking about on Magnet Marketers on just things that you need to be aware of to build that relationship marketing piece so you can become a magnet versus being a bullhorn with your marketing. And one of the crucial pieces of this whole puzzle is gaining leads. So gaining leads and how to draw them in so you can stay connected with people on social and email, etc. So lead captures. We're going to dive into first getting it set up and then some best practices in order to continue to nurture those leads. So Mike, this topic, we've been talking about lead captures, and I'm hoping that everybody knows kind of what a lead capture is, but maybe can you summarize it a little bit so we can define it?
Well, I think, first of all, I think this is probably one of the most missed areas on websites today and one of the most important areas. So when I'm talking about lead capture, I'm talking about something on a website that is helping you move a visitor from just a unknown entity into a person, and particularly an email address that you can then follow up with. So oftentimes on the web, lead capture is going to involve trying to capture a name and an email address as the basics. And so because with the email address, you now have some type of identity, some type of a marker to continue that conversation with them via email marketing, for instance.
Exactly. Right. You have to know how to get back in touch with everyone because as we mentioned in previous blabs, that not everyone's going to see everything that you put out. You know, they're not going to follow you on every social platform to hear what you have to say. But what you want to connect with them with, you have that email address in order to have that correspondence back and forth with them. So in order to collect those email addresses, though, we have to have some place on the web that is going to do this, hence the lead capture, right?
Yes.
But we can't just get away with asking for email addresses anymore. It's not that simple. The basics of and the art of creating a great lead capture is giving something of value. And this is the whole principle of inbound and relationship marketing is giving something of value back to people in exchange for their email address. And you have to gain that trust relationship with them so they know that they're getting something's in it for them, because email addresses are that sacred ground. Everybody wants them, but you don't want to give it away because we all have enough emails that cloud our inbox, right?
Yes.
So when the first step to creating then a landing page or an offer, let's just say, in order to get an email address in exchange for an email address, what's the first thing that people need to consider?
Yeah. So I think the first thing they need to consider is who's this going to be for? And so,
personas,
and you want to maybe say more about personas, just to define that term.
Yeah, so buyer personas are semi-fictional characters that represent real people that you're trying to target. So knowing who this is going to be going to is really going to help you kind of channel in what you're going to give them of value. So knowing who that person is, whether fictional or real representation of somebody that maybe is a real client that you have today or a real prospect and you have a really good idea of who that person is, think of who this is going to be given to. Who are you giving this gift to?
Yes. Yeah. So I think that's critical. And again, it's going to be tied to who your ideal client is, but you might have, a few personas within that ideal client mix. And so you have to decide, are we going after kind of a general piece that's going to be valuable? Now I'm talking about the gift. So what do you want to give? Right. What's the resource that you want to give? What's going to be of value to them, to that ideal client? Is it going to be targeted to one of those personas? Is it going to be targeted, so that it can apply to a couple of them? But who are you targeting and what's the value to them, I would say, is very important to the top keys.
Absolutely. And also, what is your goal with creating this? So is it just simply to create, and collect email addresses? That's great. But what is the end goal? Like, what are you what are you trying to offer as the win for you and the win for them? So is it building up that relationship back and forth, or is it something that you're trying to work them into? Is it a sale? Maybe you're trying to convince them that you are the best business that you're trying to earn their business for X. So now you know the persona and what you're trying to convince at the end. So then you can create that clear path in order to get from the handshake and the relationship building piece to the sale at the end.
Yes.
So know that goal for first and foremost, and who you're trying to deliver it to.
Yep. Hey, and I just want to take a moment here. I just got to welcome some people. Steve, Dotto, good to have you here. Lisa, good to have you. Steve. It's been a while since I've talked with you. So Jonathan, you've been a standard, a steady Eddie that's come with us multiple weeks. So thank you for being here as well. And to the newbies, appreciate you being here. But this one's about lead capture, and just excited to talk about this piece. Dotto's doing a lot with lead capture and growing his audience there. He's offering a lot of good content. And I think, this free resource that we're talking about, Steve Dotto is a good example of that, but putting out quality content. I think relationship marketing, what we're talking about is that on the web today, to be of value, you need to be giving away some value freely, and that shows your expertise, and that helps pre-qualify you. People are evaluating you, and that we need to get out of the mentality. Occasionally, I'll still run into people that are saying, well, I can't give that away. That's my intellectual property, and I think that today's digital age, we have to get past that and think about how we're adding value to the community. And it's out of that, through your website, through what you're doing online, that others will want to come across and connect with you. And a piece of that then is where you don't want to do that lead capture. And what's your purpose with that lead capture? Hopefully it's to nurture that relationship and to nurture that so that they could potentially want to, desire to do business with you.
You hit it right there, Mike. And we talked about this before. That's what's going to separate you from others that are maybe in your same space or doing the same thing that you have. I use the example of like insurance companies. They can't offer the buy one, get one free. They can't offer that discount insurance, and you're competing head to head against somebody that's maybe selling the exact same thing as you. You have to have that the difference maker, the thing that is going to make them choose you over someone else is going to be that relationship piece and showing that expertise. So that's straight on right there.
That's a differentiator. Like you said, there can be a whole bunch of insurance agents that's right there. Why are they going to choose you over someone else? Hopefully that's because through your content, they're seeing that you have value that you're offering, some expertise that you're offering. Hey, this is the guy that I want to have in my corner, if I'm going to need to use my insurance.
And you're right. And we actually just read a survey that Walker put out called Customers 2020. And they talked about the number one thing that's going to separate people from in their decision-making process, or whether they choose one person or another, is based on their experience that they have with that brand, not price, not product, but experience. And I put the link to the full survey and what they said there, but that is the number one differentiator that is happening now and going to be the number one thing that's happening in 2020.
Okay.
So making sure you set the stage now with offering these gifts and relationships and having the intent of giving is what's going to make you win every time at the end.
Yep. So we've covered those. We've said, hey, who are you trying to target, and then what's going to be of value to them, and then what's your goal? What's the resource you want to offer, and what's the goal, the end game that you want to have out of that in that lead capture? Lead capture primarily being moving them from visitor to knowing their name and email address.
Yes, absolutely. So number 3, then, we talked about it a little bit, but it's what are you trying to capture from them? So you know what you're going to give away, what is going to be that gift that you're giving away. The third step then is knowing what you need to collect from them, what's going to be worth it for you in order to give that gift. And my advice is to make it simple and easy. Because when you're creating this landing page and this workflow, you have to think about just getting basic information and getting then people to come back for the rest. And you can separate then your leads from your marketing qualified leads to your sales qualified leads. So the first time that you're offering up this gift, let's just call it a gift, your giveaway, minimal information, name, email address, potentially like a company name or something, but think of those 3 things that you would need in exchange for what you're offering.
Yep.
Just setting it up. What do you typically ask for? Is it name, email, or?
Name and email is typically my first piece that I try to make it minimalistic, just because I know that I can follow up with them via email with that information.
Yeah, because if you get to one of those pages and it has like 17 questions in exchange for a piece of content, it's not really worth it.
No, and
people back away.
Statistics show that the dropout rate just increases manyfold then. So people do not want to take the time to fill that out, and they don't know you very well, that so to fill out 12 fields, that's time consuming, but it can also feel like too much information. They're going to be calling me right away. I don't want that. I just wanted to check them out. So you're trying to make it light, a simple, low barrier to entry.
And I love what you said there. They don't know you that well, so they're not willing to provide that much information. That's why the first landing page, the first offer that you give them, we call that the value added. You're just giving them something in exchange for nothing, really. A name and email address, but not much, just a little bit of information from them, because the whole goal is to get them to know, like, and trust you, right? So just name, email, just very simple information. And welcome the new people that just joined. Thank you very much for joining in today. All right. So value added. The first step is value added pieces, name, email address, getting them to come in. And so you have to think of those form fields, whatever that is for you that's going to help you reach your goals.
Yep.
The next step is to craft a headline. So when you're landing on your landing page, what's going to draw them in? What's going to clearly say, here's what I'm offering of value to you. And that's a couple parts that are going to go into that landing page. But the first one is a clear, concise headline that's going to explain exactly, what they're getting in exchange for their name and email address. So clear, concise headline and a couple 3 to 5 bullet points that are going to explain what is of value in this piece.
Yep.
And then, like a paragraph of text as well. So clear, concise headline, paragraph of text, couple sentences, and maybe 3 to 5 bullet points that's going to explain exactly what they're getting. Okay, right there. And then I'm going to put a link in here that's going to have a framework for you too to get this set up. So it's literally going to give you that. Another thing that you want to have on your landing page is an image or a video or something that's going to show what you're getting, or at least to make it more attractive.
Right. Yep. So if it's an ebook, some type of image of the cover, that type of thing, or if it's a simple little video. I know that's, again, come back to Steve Dotto here. He's a wizard with the video pieces there, and in crafting simple, quick videos that demonstrate and explain what the value is, so that people want to opt in.
Yeah, absolutely. And he does a great job with that, the videos. So that brings up to another point. What's another thing people should consider, though, when creating these landing pages with that image or that video and explaining it? What else do you think they should have on there?
Well, I think that, gone are the days, particularly for this initial value add, gone are the days where it's just that multi-tiered ongoing, have you considered opting in for this reason? Have you considered opting in for this reason? Have you considered opting in for this reason? And I think that that's, those days are gone. And what you said is, for this free value add, simple and concise, with a clear headline, clear expertise, what it's about, what the value it's going to bring to them is critical. And then I think that you're going to have to deploy this, and you're going to want to test it. So it's good to have a and a B, so that you can test another version of it as well. And that's often referred to, as split testing. People can talk about that. Yep.
Yeah, and you're right. And split testing can even come down to something as simple as color. I know HubSpot's done things that are one's red button versus a green button, and you'd be surprised at just little things just as simple as color or action words. Like maybe you don't want to say subscribe, it's get my download or something like that of action verbs, but see what's working, test and, continue to change it up to see what's going to be that magic recipe to get people to download and opt in.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And a little side note, this is a little different variation, but I've had, that's been such an eye-opening on Facebook with the Facebook ad. So say I'm trying to drive some traffic to a landing page, and I'm using a Facebook ad to do that. And just the A/B test of two different images, just, tremendous night and day differences. And again, just in general, and this fits with a social media network, but an image with people and interacting was tremendously more valuable than just another, non-human visual for the Facebook ad. So that's just a side note there, but that's an example of what we're talking about, how something can make a difference in terms of people wanting to follow through, click through, sign up.
You're right. I've had a lot of success with people as well in Facebook ads, just images of either the people that are in the actual, company itself, or just people in general. It seems to pop out more. And if you think about it, on Facebook, that's where people are hanging out, right? They're interacting with their friends, family members. So that would be a better place to just make that stand out a lot more versus just, very ad heavy.
Yep.
Plus with Facebook's rule with the 25% text, you get away with it that way too. So it's kind of a win-win when using images over just words and a highly scripted graphic.
Yep.
Let's just say.
Yep.
So the next piece though, okay, so we have our clear, concise headline, our bullet points, our paragraph text. We already know what our value offer is going to be. We've chose our, form fields that we're wanting to ask. The next step is going to take them to that thank you page that they're going to get their offer. So make sure that thank you page not only has the offer, but since our goal is to continue to build and nurture this relationship, you want to think about what is the most logical next step that person's going to want. So if they first get this first piece of value-added content, what's going to be that next piece of content that either dives in a little bit deeper to the subject matter that you've already given them, or that's going to continue to be something that persona that you're specifically trying to target is going to want to help you reach your goal. So we call this second level that trust builder. So the first piece of content is going to be that value add. The second piece is going to be the trust builder. So you've taken them from the landing page to the thank you page where you're going to give them what you promised, but then also sweeten the deal. Give them something a little bit more that's going to start that process kind of over again, but in that same section. So instead of now, you've already got their name, their email address, potentially their company name. Think of a couple other questions that you can ask them to dive them in a little bit deeper and to progressively profile this individual. So like the second piece of, trust building content. I mean, you can give them something like a free webinar, depending on your industry and what you're trying to get out of it. Maybe it's another piece of content that's of a webinar, something of high value that's really going to sweeten the deal even more and help them to build that relationship.
Yep. Let's go. I'll take an orthodontist, for example. Okay. So
sure.
Orthodontist is, you're trying to use digital marketing to grow their practice, make sure that they're, regionally found, and they're trying to offer a free resource. So maybe their free resource for their target persona is trying to reach the parent of the teenager who might need orthodontics, right? And so they're going to have maybe a free booklet that's going to be, the 25 key items you need to think about before choosing an orthodontist. Okay. I don't know. Yeah. And so that's the resource that's they've got all those pieces in place. They've come over, the person has signed up. On the thank you page, there's the image clickable to download the PDF resource. But below that is, maybe a headline which says, next step resources. And then there's 3 links to maybe it's other blog posts that they have on their website that are related to that. Maybe it's a type of, more about Invisalign orthodontics and those types of pieces. But there you go. That's just a quick, simple, hey, they were interested in this. They may also be interested in B, C, and D, and you have those right there for them.
That's a good example. Yep. And we have on our website the guide to building that know, like, and trust relationship. So we have that as step 1. And then step 2, after you get in there, it's like, here's the guide to setting up your full relationship marketing strategy. And it's literally like a checklist of what you need to do. And then from there, then we sign them in, into a workflow, which we'll talk about that in just a second. But then on that next step is going to ask for if they'd like us to evaluate their current, marketing strategy. So once you have your value added piece that you're giving up front, then the trust builder, the next part we call our hand raise. So that's saying now you have permission, because you've moved them in from a lead to a marketing qualified lead to a sales qualified lead, to ask for the sale or hand raise. So you want them to give you permission in order to contact them or offer them something that would meet your end goal, your end result. So the hand raise, whether it's calling them, requesting for, a consultation or whatever that may be, but now you have permission to call them. Because the last thing you want to do is, if they filled out the very first article and it's just to get a piece of value added content, just because you have their name and email address and potentially their phone number, you don't want to call them right away like, I see you just filled out a form. You want to buy my stuff? Because that's going to ruin the relationship right out of the gate. You don't want to jump to the marriage proposal when they're just asking for the first date.
I'll compare that quickly to what happens on LinkedIn. And
right.
I mean, isn't it drive you nuts on LinkedIn where somebody reaches out to you and wants to connect, and you take a look at that profile. Okay, I'll connect, and you do that, and then within 12 hours you've gotten this email. Hey, I want to check with you about this. And there's the sales pitch, and you're just like, oh
God, no, I wasn't looking for that. And you're like, man, because then now you just look at that person like they are a spammer.
Right.
Like they don't. They're not in it for value added or, to build a relationship. Yeah, exactly. No, that's a good way of saying it. Yeah. I'm going to put this link in here to a couple of different things. One, this is a worksheet, and I just really created this. I need to put an image on my own landing page here. This is just for you guys. We usually just use this internally, but it is literally the steps to the landing page workflow. And this is actually like what we use here at the Now office to literally step 1, here's what you need. Step 2, here's what you need. Step 3, and so forth. So you make sure you have everything, because it does, as you're starting to build out your workflow, it does take a little bit of getting used to. I mean, you have to remember that you've created your workflow in sync, because it needs to link into another one and so forth. So definitely making sure that you have that workflow in place and that you have everything ready before you start building it, so you don't leave someone with a missing piece or into a dead end. But one thing we want to talk about too, because the lead capture is one piece of it, but then also setting it up for that workflow piece. So Mike, can you explain what a workflow is to everyone?
I think that once they're captured in, you want to figure out how you want to nurture them and how you want to follow up with them. So that's going to be the ongoing drip marketing that you're going to offer to them. And depending on how sophisticated you want to get, that drip marketing can be simple. It can be the same set series. So they've signed up for this, and you want to drip out to them 4 emails. That could be part of your workflow over the course of 7 days or something like that. And then a more complex one could be something where you're going to send out a follow-up email, and maybe that has 2 links in it. And depending if they click on link 1 or link 2, that puts them into another workflow based on their interest. And so they might get a different follow-up if they click link 2 versus link 1. So that's a little example. I'll let you give a little more, flesh that out further too.
That's a really good example, because we talked about setting up buyer personas. Most companies have at least minimum 3 different personas, because one, you're going to have your current customer base, right? Which is usually, hopefully, your number 1 referrers. So they will probably want to receive a different set of content than your prospects or the people that you're just now starting to build that know, like, and trust relationship with. So according to what persona that you have and the way that they're responding to questions that you're asking, you're going to want to deliver the content that's going to be best suited to nurture that relationship. So that's what Mike is saying with, depending on what they click on, they're going to get a different set of content. So making sure that the right articles, the right content to nurture the right relationship. So yeah. So if that person's maybe into Facebook or maybe they're interested in growing YouTube, or, the two different types of content that they'd be
Yep.
interested in.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I think again, this is critical. So this is how you begin to nurture that relationship. If we're trying to build that trust up, then these are the key pieces that we need to think through. So if number one, people missing having lead capture on their website is a big problem, then number two, not thinking through this workflow is the second biggest problem then, because they're just kind of, you can abandon people. You can, if you're not paying attention to this, you're missing out, and you started well. So let's carry on the process then.
Yeah, I think that's the number one reason that this does not work for someone is the consistency factor.
Yeah.
They have one call to action that's up, and it's not changed out, or it's not tested, and then there's no follow through. So you want to make sure that you're constantly, adding value, change, and making sure that you consistently have that follow up going. There are some tools out there that'll help you build this once and get it set up, and then it can almost run a little bit on autopilot. I mean, once you put your time invested into it, and then you can tweak as needed. So you don't have to feel like, every Tuesday you have to go back to your computer and send out an email, on to different personas. You can set it up to drip campaign. So say after day 1, they get this piece, after 7-day delay, then they get this piece, etc. So there's some tools out there to help you get that set up the right way.
Yep.
So Mike, if somebody's brand new to getting set up with lead captures in general, what's a good place, or have you found a good tool for them to get started on, to get their feet wet?
Right.
Yep.
So, I mean, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention our TabSite product when I offer lead capture. So that's one of the ones that is my first go-to. A lot of people will use TabSite, and you can use that with Facebook. So you can have an app, and you can do that with a landing page, or you can embed. So we try to make it easy for you to take care of that whole lead capture piece with the form, those pieces that we just talked about there. And you can embed that on a website. I think there's other ones such as Lead Pages that a lot of people use. And, of course, HubSpot has your system there that has a built-in CMS with landing pages, the options that you can use. And, there are other tools with WordPress sites that you can use for little lead capture pieces. I think I mentioned this last time, but just to let you know, we're rolling out this little new tool called Waftio, WAFTIO, and it's geared towards lead capture on websites as well. So it's going to give you a little widget, and it's going to give you a pop-up box kind of thing. So it's those pieces that will grab attention on a web page and allow you to easily to engage, capture that lead, and get them into a system. A lot of these, so that's a few, and a lot of these then either come with or need to tie into your email marketing type system. So, like with TabSite, we offer different integrations. HubSpot, you take care of that all in one integration. And with Waftio, with Lead Pages, with TabSite, you can sync them with MailChimp, for instance. And that's a simple process there, so that a lead comes in, they get their resource, but it also goes into your MailChimp list, where then you can set up that automated workflow.
Yeah, I like the ones that you mentioned. So I think if you're brand new, and I'm finding a link here, I'll just put a couple in here. But the first one, if you're getting started with lead capture and you're brand new to lead capture, I think there's a couple that are really nice with WordPress, which is called Inbound Now. That one's a really nice one to get started. They have a free version of it to get started. TabSite is amazing, and it's very simple to use with capturing, leads on social media pages. We've used it for several of our clients and had great success with it. You can tie it into campaigns, and it makes it a lot easier to run a contest and social campaigns with using that TabSite app. The other one that's a new favorite of mine, and of course I am a HubSpot partner, so I do love HubSpot, and it is great, and it's an all-in-one marketing software that really helps you set up your drip campaigns, your social, your website content, everything all in one. But another favorite of mine, if you're into video and you're very comfortable with doing video, BombBomb. BombBomb is, and it's just bombagain.com, and I'll post a link here. But that one allows you to set up drip campaigns with video. So you can put a video on top and then your email drip campaign below, and really send it out. And I've had some great success with just using it. The past month and a half, I've been using and tying in video. I actually sent out the first video reminder for this blab session via BombBomb. So it's great success. People are opening more and more emails with using video. I think the last stat was, you're going to have 70% more success with using video than just content. So setting up your drip campaigns, BombBomb is a great one to use as well as lead pages. I love lead pages for setting up landing pages for clients. My only downside that I've seen with lead pages is it does not have that email integration in. So great for setting up your landing pages, not so great right now. And to their defense, I haven't tried it out again for the past month and a half, but they don't have that email already built in. You'd have to integrate something else with it. Thank you for Paul for posting that BombBomb link. I appreciate it. And yes, I do have a contact at BombBomb. I can send you the link, Mr. Steve Dotto. But yeah, BombBomb is great. And it has some campaign templates built in already for specific industries. I think there's insurance in there. There's real estate in there. They don't have anything marketing yet, but there's some already kind of success templates and integrations that you can integrate into other sales software and other apps, which I really, really like. So, but yeah, you have a demo that is available as well, and they're great. I think they're still small enough now at BombBomb where you're getting that one-on-one attention. Hopefully that always continues, but they've been great to work with. Might
be something that Dottotech can review there in a video sometime.
Yes. Yeah, it's really cool. And I can send you some examples. They actually have some examples on there as well on their site, but we've been using it. It's actually started out as something we were using for one of our real estate clients, and they integrated with some other real estate software that they're using to compare houses and give people their home valuations. And they started using BombBomb and just had great success with it too.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, video's coming. Video is more leading edge, and so it may not be right for everybody, but it's something that's really taken off and is just continuing to grow in acceptance, popularity, and the value that people like in receiving information.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, to summarize this too, we have a couple links in here, the steps of getting started with. This is kind of more of an inbound marketing strategy as a whole, but it's really about building better relationships. And it all starts with having great content and then offering that content up in exchange for, contact information for someone to start building and nurturing that lead.
Yep.
So.
And I guess we should be
questions.
Yes, offering it out there. If there are questions or some conversations that folks want to have, we are definitely open to that on this whole art of lead capture.
Yeah. So while we're waiting on questions, Mike, have you seen any creative lead captures out there as well? Like anything out there that stands out of ways that people are using it?
Trying to think of some campaigns that I've looked at recently, but I think that. And you're seeing a lot right now with some of the holiday marketing pieces. I mean, so there's retailer type pieces, but I think that I think sometimes that's simpler. People think of those most often, but it's more difficult people to think about in the B2B realm, business to business. Right. And I think that I'll come back to one that the guys are just doing a good job, and that is with. What's it called it's the MRI imaging equipment and
Block.
Yes. Block imaging.
Yeah. Yes, they do a great job. I love their stuff.
Yeah. And so they're using video a lot, some YouTube videos, things like that. But the perfect example, the thing that I like about them is that they're thinking about more than just their product. They're thinking about being a resource to the industry and knowing that as they build that footprint of an industry resource, that ultimately helps them be the go-to when somebody is ready to purchase. I mean, we're talking MRI equipment. This is not something people buy every day. But one of their great offers was a industry buyer's guide. So this was so they had a video that introduced it, and then you sign up, and then you got access to this document, and it was a buyer's guide, which is what you need. So if it's going to be in the 2016 budget for your hospital to buy a new MRI piece of equipment, you kind of want to know, what are the ranges? What are we talking about? What are the features? I mean, it's kind of like a car when you're taking a look at those pieces. You want to know what all the options are. And so they do a good job of outlining that, and it's a resource. But lo and behold, when you've gone through that resource and they've treated you so well, and you're on their list, and they've been helpful to you, I mean, who are you going to want to consider them?
Exactly.
When it's time to make that purchase.
Yeah, and another example of this is again with a real estate client, but they were wanting to grow agents, so they needed to grow their agency, right? And we talked about this earlier about people being afraid to share their secret sauce, not want to put content out there. One thing that they did creatively using this same inbound strategy is that they started offering free agent training. Didn't matter if you were their agent or not. And it was teaching them how to market themselves online and how to grow themselves as an agent. So they started offering training to their competitors essentially in order to win them over and show what kind of agency, and brokerage that they were.
Yep.
And it ended up working for them. They were able to offer this training out, and these people are like, what? Is this for real? They're really going to train me, and I work for a different competitor here in this area.
Yep.
And the training was there. It didn't matter what, agency you worked at. And then they were able to win some people over, and now they have trained agents, and working for them on their side. So it's
excellent
way of doing it.
I want to know if somebody is willing to come in and talk about their lead capture or something that they've done recently that's, the good or the bad. Anybody out there that's open to stopping in? I don't know if Dotto, if you are, or if someone else has a story from their lead capture and what they've learned from it, the good or the bad that you're willing to talk about, let us know.
Or a win. Yeah, absolutely. In the meantime, Mike, we could do a pre-dance for our blob dance while we're waiting.
Okay, yeah. And we get the hands up. Get the hands up. Get the hands up.
Yeah. Just give them a few minutes. Got it.
Yeah. Yep.
That's our blab dance there. Very
successful. Now, how many lead captures do you have on Now Marketing at this moment? What do you think about?
We have like 32. Right now. Not all of them are going at the same time though, so we swap it out. And one easy way of building these out when you think about it is you create blogs, or you should be creating blogs all the time. So once you get a lot of good information on your blogs, take the best of the best and combine it into one download. So one good piece of content around this subject that's really going to tie it all together. So somebody doesn't have to go back and read 5 or 6 different blogs. And then that way they have it right there and easily accessible. So we use those, and we use different downloads in specific blog articles. Hey, Steve, how are you?
Hey.
Welcome, Steve.
Hi, how are you guys doing?
Doing well.
Good conversation. I was interested in learning more about email opt-ins and how to maximize. You know what I think the biggest challenge is. So getting people to sign up is one thing if you give them good value, but then figuring out what that follow-up funnel looks like, that funnel architecture, that's got to be a topic you got to teach at some point in the future. Because I personally, I don't have any trouble getting people on my list. It's figuring out how to optimize them downstream, and so much of that is the analytics, is ways to test. And I think that's when we tend to just throw stuff at the wall, and I'll try this funnel, I'll try that funnel, but actually getting into the analytics, I think that's kind of kind of the next art that most of us really struggle with. If you've got all the other pieces in place.
You're right.
Right. No, I think absolutely, and it's it is a challenge because you can feel like that sense of accomplishment. Hey, I've got my lead capture up, but there is the need to evaluate and to take a look at what is happening with the people on that list and how are they following up.
And the creative aspect.
How am I following up?
The creative aspect of it. Jessica, you were talking about using this BombBomb. So are you using it as an initial point of contact, or are you using it as a part of your funnel? As far as creating, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm using it for lead nurturing. So I have a sign in. I have it integrated with HubSpot. So I offer something of value there, right? And it's the guide to getting started with relationship marketing. And then my follow-up emails, though, it's starting off with the video before they get into the blog articles that will be nurturing them, or the lead nurturing emails, I should say. So I just started adding video instead and using that there, because then it gives me analytics on, how far they've got into the videos, what all they've watched. It tells me, anytime they've opened it, if they forwarded it, and it gives me those great analytics, like you were saying, to see what's really working. Because like on HubSpot, it just tells me if they've opened it and if they've read it and forwarded on. I want to know if they're consuming it.
Now, is the video?
If they're really watching it.
Are the videos hosted on their servers?
Yes.
Okay, because some email clients block video or classify video in a different way, even sometimes as spam. How do they get around that? Do you know?
I have not a clue on that piece of it.
But you haven't had any issues.
They've templated. Yeah. I haven't had any issues yet.
You're seeing deliverability.
Yes. And so you turn it in and they will customize your email to look just like, any other email that would go out from you. You can send them examples what you want it to look like, so it doesn't look any different than anything else they're getting from you, right?
Yeah.
And then the video plays right within.
It stays within within the whatever window email
within
client.
the window of their email. Yeah. So that it doesn't even open up to another window, which is really cool.
Yeah, because for example, in Infusionsoft, we can put a snippet in, which is a YouTube clip, but all it does is it pulls the cover art from the YouTube image, from the YouTube video, drops that in with an active link to launch the YouTube Play window, which is fine. I mean, it works.
Yeah. I've even used this in sales, like after my sales follow-ups now, like I've just started using it for that. So you can use it in just one-off emails, like it integrates in right with your Gmail or Outlook. Like we use Gmail for business. And if you choose to send an email, you can choose whether you want to do the BombBomb email or your traditional email. And so you don't even have to go in and log into BombBomb if you don't want to. You can do it right within your.
Sorry to focus so much on the video side, but
no, it's good.
Now, do they charge you by the video? What is the account? Is it by the video? So do you want to because I'm thinking that might be even a way to deliver simple tutorials where you could have.
That's what I'm doing. That's exactly what I'm starting to do now, because that's what I was building into that, and what I've loved, because it's right around $300 for your annual subscription.
Annual?
It's the price is great, and they immediately sign you up.
You're immune to pricing, being a HubSpot client. Everything looks great to you.
This is true. It's all about the ROI.
$25,000. It's cheap. I'm a HubSpot user.
Hey, I love HubSpot.
I know. I believe you do. Yeah. You have to.
I do. It works. I had to believe it myself. I had to test it on myself before I agreed to sell it. And it's working.
Because, increasingly with the courses that we're delivering, especially, kind of the low end, the 97, 197 courses, building a whole back end, building a whole membership area around those courses is, I think, almost counterproductive in some ways. It just takes so much work to maintain. So I've been delivering. I followed. Well, Mike, you met Lisa Larder, and we spoke together in Victoria when we were all there. And that's her model, is delivering these courses by email, which I've kind of followed with a lot of my stuff. But finding a way to incorporate video is the challenge, without driving people to a YouTube Play page, which is really the only way. Or you create an HTML page, which is pretty much the same thing as creating a full membership page or membership site. But this might be a real interesting option. It'd be great if they could make it embed in Evernote. I wonder if they'll ever do that.
They do give you an embed script. I don't know if it's an Evernote.
No, it wouldn't work in Evernote, I'm
option,
sure.
but they do give you an embed code right with your video. So if you don't want to send it out straight from there, they give you either an option to download your video or it gives you an embed script that you can put in.
Okay, and is the video itself clickable within it, or just play and
Yeah.
But can you have links within it? Is what I'm asking.
I don't know.
Okay.
I have to find out that. I did run into some snags with HubSpot with the embed code within their like email player. So I don't know. Depends on the software.
Okay. Good. Yeah. Well, that's cool. That's nice and creative. You know, the other one that people are doing a lot of, that I hear people a lot of, you were talking about creative ways of opt-in, is I'm hearing so many more people now using the texting to opt in for a lead magnet where you text to this address for the lead magnet. Yeah. I haven't ever experienced it, but I bet you the conversion rates are pretty good on that.
Yeah, especially when people are there at an event and it's just like, hey, let us know if you want to sign up for this. I know, didn't Social Media Examiner do that last year? Or maybe it was 2 years ago?
Well, I hear Amy Porterfield was doing it in her podcasts. She's always saying, text to this one here, text to this message to this location. But I think Infusionsoft has hooks for that, and I'm pretty sure HubSpot would as well. That it has hooks where you can set up the SMS, the messaging side. Because I know a lot of people are using that as well as a follow-up for their like webinars, as a way of doing notification on webinars, is using the SMS. So.
I want to know what you receive back as the person, though. Like once they opt in, like what all information do you get from that individual?
Like, I would you get their I think I've done it once. I think you just get a link, which then you end up downloading on your phone, really.
No, but I mean, like Amy, what does she get?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I think typically they're still getting an email address.
They have to, yeah, because I know she doesn't do anything. Everything's about list building, and that's what it's there for. So there must be a way to get the email address. So I can't remember if you do that when you do the text, it wouldn't be attached to your email address.
No, not then. There's usually that goes out, and then that automatically sends you one, and then
you have to opt in. So it's a multi-step process.
That makes sense. But that does save you if you're on your phone. You kind of, you can go back and
it gets you into the funnel as opposed to getting you the content. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and it engages people in that moment of I could use that. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Right. I know I've done that for some podcasts as I'm listening to a podcast.
You'll suddenly send the text in.
Save it and then
As long as, but that depends on where you are too, whether or not you're offloading the cost to your. Whether it costs people to text or not, but it shouldn't for most people.
Not anymore. I think they just give that stuff away.
There you go. So what's
now it's just the data.
I was trying to think. There was a service that was a text message to add to your MailChimp list. I'm not coming up with it right away, but if anybody knows what that one was. Now, because I ran into that, I was actually looking at using that in Victoria, but lo and behold, it didn't support Canadian
carriers
use. Yes, so I couldn't do it there.
Fair enough. Yeah, that could be an issue.
Yeah, and those are things you got to take a look at.
That's what I was just doing, was setting up my new iPhone 6 Plus
6S.
S.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yes.
It is quite nice, but I got the white face. I don't know what kind of. I'm not sure. I'm a black face guy. I don't know about the white face, but sorry. That's why I was multitasking while I was listening to you.
All right.
No, you're all good.
Well, listen. Hey, great.
Thank you so much.
Great blab. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I'll tune in next. But start teaching us about funnels.
There we go.
I will. That's a good topic.
Point
so
taken.
Thank you so much for joining in.
Nice to see you. Thanks.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining in this week, Magnet Marketers. Next week, I'm going to post a link in here. We're going to be talking about an important subject, setting up your business goals for next year. Or just setting up your business goals now. Maybe you want to finish the year out strong. But setting up business goals, how to get them set up to where you keep your goals for yourself. So let me post a link in here. And Mike, any other finishing thoughts as I'm doing this?
I always say it's about the key takeaways, and so you want to be stopping and reflecting right now on, the art of the lead capture. What was that one takeaway? What was that one thing you want to check out, whether it's BombBomb or whether it's, simplifying yours, or it's taking a look at your workflow. What is that one key that you need to take a look at in more detail? Make a note to yourself to do that in the next week here. So that's it for me.
Yeah, and just for me, we will be recapping everything that we covered in this session on the Now Marketing Group blog. So if you go to the link, nowmarketinggroup.com/blog, we subscribe, you'll get that right into your inbox. And that's my lead capture for today. But there's some others that you can find on the site. But thank you guys all so much, as always, for joining in. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Bye-bye.
Take care.